See where I put things I create at. Not for the Weaker Sex by David J. Rowbottom. Appendix A. Glossary of flicking and licking metaphors. Writer's note. I've left some space in case you think of any. Female blowjob. Female masturbation. Cunning lingerer. Pick the petal. Licking the chicken. Open the blinds. Tasting and basting. To the hilt till you wilt. Sending the mouth south. Help Luigi with the squeegee. Sucking the smarty. Wring out the sponge. Tongue in groove. Touch the crutch. A slow job. Enjoy the toy. A smoother maneuver. Insert till you hurt. Kissing the cauliflower. Stand in. Linger with the finger. Suck the puck. Twist the fist. Lick the leaf. Paddle the peanut. Welcome to the jungle. Click the mouse button. Tongue the pong. Glaze the cherry. Flick and lick. Stroke the cat. Nibble the icing off the cake. Bring home the bacon. To mold the fold. Knead the bun until you're done. Praise in the raisin. Hold your crutch so you don't lose your watch. Pull back the lips and rest them on her hips. Mop the sop. Bungle in the jungle. Keep it simple and pinch the pimple. Please the boss while you dental floss. Compress the mess. Fight your way through the curtains of goo. Work the walnut. Dilly-dally near the willy-alley. Rubbing the nubbin. Dredge the wedge. Scratching the decks, avoid the bot and hit the spot. Fiddle and diddle. Push your mush into the bush. To flip her picture 90 degrees to the right. Finishing off her bargee. Appendix B, women's complaints answered. These are genuine complaints from real women. There has been no tampering and all questions appear as they were sent in. Writer's note. Apart from the ones that were really badly written, even I couldn't let some of them appear that way. For the purposes of fairness, I am going to apply Godwin's law to these conversations. Writer's note. Godwin's law is an internet adage that is derived from one of the earliest bits of Usenet wisdoms, which goes, if you mention Adolf Hitler or Nazis within a discussion thread, you've automatically ended whatever discussion you were taking part in. Julia, Whitefield. Question. Here's just one example of something that drives me crazy. On the few occasions he washes the pots, he never ever gets the dishcloth and wipes round the sink to get rid of water and bubbles and stuff, and then he leaves the dirty water in the bowl. Tipping it out is obviously too much like hard work, so go on. Why? Answer. Simple. He has decided to wash the pots, nothing else. If he'd decided to wash the pots, wipe the sink and tip out the dirty water, he'd have done it. Complaint. Okay, here's another one. Bags for rubbish are in our utility room. He'll go in there with an empty bottle, but instead of putting it in the right bag, he'll just leave it on the side. Solution. This man sounds like a staunch environmentalist. Do you have written proof that he was asked to attend and attended the orientation meeting with regard to the correct processes with regard to the recycling of empty bottles? Question. Why are all men allergic to coat hangers? Answer. No. Writer's note. Tried to be more specific. This question requires a one-word answer, and therefore that is all you will receive. Complaint. When he makes a meal, he uses every plate, pot, bowl, and utensil in the kitchen. It looks like a bomb has hit it. Answer. When making a meal to the high standards he sets himself, it is important he uses all the tools at his disposal. At some point in the future, he will require certain of these items again. When he does, he will wash them thoroughly. Rebuttal. That's where the problem lies. He doesn't see mess, and when he does, it really doesn't bother him. Answer. This is your issue and not his. If things being untidy annoys you before it annoys him, this is simply a matter of timing. Why are you trying to change the man you love? Love him for all the wondrous things he brings to your world. Don't hate him for a dirty plate. Rebuttal. You're bloody hopeless. I thought you were going to come up with some wonderful insight and advice for me. All you've done is defend him, and if I showed him all your responses, empowered him, I'll use your book as a bloody doorstop. Answer. I am not defending him because he is a man. I'm defending him because you are asking him to do unnatural things. If he asked you to do things that were against your nature, I would defend you. I will make sure my book is thick at one end and thin at the other, just in case many other people feel the same way. I'm sorry you feel my answers are incompatible with your beliefs and doctrine. That's just how Nazi Germany started, you know? Live internet chat on the 18th of October. Sarah. Berry. Question. Why is it that if you ask males to do something, or ask for something that they don't want to do, they always accuse you of nagging? Answer. What you describe is known as the nag reflex. It is answered quite simply with a return question. Why is it that you're asking the man you love, the man you have chosen above all other men, to do something he clearly doesn't want to do? The key problem with your sentence is the word something. Men need literal facts. Something is too vague. Something could mean anything from not washing a teacup to not removing the pet gerbil from his anus because he likes the soft fluffiness of the pelt. Question. What makes men think that we should laugh at and congratulate them on their wonderful farting ability? Answer. Farting and the noises and smells that are included in the act are the bedrock of a good relationship. Everybody farts. To deny you fart is to deny you exist. The fact that most people think that the sound of a fart is as funny as the smell of a fart is bad is indisputable. Men never want to do a smelly fart, and we apologize for doing so. To make light of the smelly fart is purely a defense mechanism to hide our embarrassment at not easing out a hilarious squeaker. Farts are funny. Complaint. When having a conversation about something that is not interesting to males, that is, new curtains, carpet, etc., why do they look at us as though we are from a different civilization, obviously a superior one, and not hear a word we say? Answer. Do I really need to answer this? We do not care. A curtain keeps out light. A carpet softens the floor. I will repeat your question and make a few minor alterations. When having a conversation about something that is not interesting to females, that is football, cricket, rugby, lesbian porn, etc., why do they look at us as if we are from a different civilization, obviously a superior one, and not hear a word we say? Fortunately for you, we don't burden you with things like this. This is why we have friends and the internet. So we don't have to bore you to tears talking about subjects of no interest to you. Have a little consideration. Go out and get yourself a friend and choose curtains and carpets with her. If you decide that you find each other slightly attractive, give us a call. Complaint. Why do men never notice if you have had your hair done? Also, if we change our style, they will always say the words, I liked it as it was before. Answer. There is a two-way answer to this complaint. If we enter the room with our national team's away kit on, would you notice? No. When you discovered it was new, you'd say, what was wrong with the old one? I liked it as it was before. It looks the same to me, and how much? Secondly, what is wrong with saying that we liked your hair as it was before? You must have liked it like it was before. Because you had it as it was before. Would you prefer it if we said, God, I'm glad you got your hair done. You look bloody ridiculous with your last style. No, of course you wouldn't. We don't care if you notice our new away kit because we didn't get it for you. Conversely, you don't actually care if we like your new look because you did it for yourself. Complaint. If there is something on the floor, males have great ability to step over or walk round the item instead of picking it up. Solution. Here is the word something again. What is it? A bear trap? A dog turd? A puddle? Writer's note. How could we pick up a puddle? Please be specific. If it's a dog lazing on the floor, then yes, we'll step over it. If it's a pound coin, we'll pick it up. Complaint. When in the wrong, men will give a little nervous laugh and tell you not to be silly. Solution. Whereas women will stand proud and say, yes, my wonderful man, I am in the wrong. Please forgive me, I always admit my mistakes. Complaint. If we, women, have a good idea about something, males have the knack of making it sound like their idea. Solution. Firstly, something again. Really good. Secondly, men have absolutely no interest in taking away any idea glory from women. Look at the many things you've invented over the years. Chocolate chip cookies, writer's note Ruth Wakefield, 1930. Brilliant because I love these. The ironing board, writer's note Sarah Boone, 1892, 10 years after Henry W. Seeley kindly invented the iron. Come on, girls. What were you using before you got your shit together and noticed that a vital part of the ironing process, the bit underneath the iron, was missing? We can't do it all for you. Liquid paper, writer's note Betty Nesmith, 1951. This wasn't even the best thing she created. She created Mike Nesmith of Monkees fame in 1942, the paper bag making machine. Writer's note Margaret Knight, 1871, the rolling pin. Writer's note Catherine Diner, 1891. This appears upon further investigation to be bollocks. Apparently the Etruscans were using them by the 9th century. Serious writer's note. I'm just taking the piss. Women are as prolific as men when it comes to inventions. The dishwasher, the fire escape, the electric hot water heater, Kevlar, the life raft, the medical syringe, and the rotary engine. This final invention was by the very same Margaret Knight who, in 1871, invented the paper bag making machine. This woman was a genius inventor. She patented her own rotary engine in 1902, some 27 years before Felix Wankel. Complaint. Writer's note, I assume. Nose picking. Answer. I refer you back to the farting answer. Have you really, honestly, never picked your nose? Men celebrate it, enjoy it, revel in it, and sometimes make our noses bleed because we do it so violently. Complaint. Writer's note, I assume. Not ironing. Answer. Not ironing. Not ironing. Not ironing. Men can iron. We can't iron well, but we can and do iron. Complaint. Why do men think that we are the least bit interested in the Premier League and who is at the top of the table? Answer. Why do women think we are in the least bit interested in who owns the shop on Coronation Street, or who cried in EastEnders, or who shagged whose sheep in Emmerdale, or who won Strictly X Factor on ice, or who was a celebrity in Big Brother's Little Jungle? Men, however, understand that these things are important to our women and try at the very least to keep our eyes from rolling into our brains, down our torso and out of our bottom, while you bore us into catatonia with the latest drivel. Any mention of a ball that doesn't involve B-grade celebrities dressing like a 1970s porn star is immediately halted by women. To women, Michael Vaughan is a fantastic dancer. Complaint. Why do men use the phrase, "Oh, I'm really sorry, I didn't know," and expect to get away with it? Answer. So your man apologizes for being in the wrong and still isn't good enough for you. If there's one thing you should have learned from this book, and you appear to have made it this far on your own, is that just because you speak, it doesn't mean we have listened. You say so many things. If we digested them all, our heads would explode. Knowledge such as the latest plot of Emerenda Street, or what you had for your lunch, or even more annoyingly, what Brenda at work had for her lunch, are as important to man as the local netball league's playoff results. Here's a tip. Start important sentences like this. Hello, darling. Can I please have your attention? I know that a lot of the time I talk absolute bollocks about the most unimportant data imaginable, and just let me say, thank you, my love for attempting to acknowledge and digest a small percentage of the drivel. But what I'm about to say to you is actually very important, so please listen carefully, etc. This, unless it's followed by an account of a particularly nice bacon balm you saw Susan from HR eat on Tuesday, will really work. Make it important, though. Something of the magnitude of, please pick our daughter up from her late-night taekwondo lesson in the red light district, or, the house is on fire. I think we should probably leave. Hitler's generals used to miss important tactical instructions because he famously voiced them between long womanesque ramblings about how pretty Leni Riefenstahl's dress was at the premiere of Triumph of the Will. That's just how Nazi Germany started, you know? Sarah, Dewsbury. Another Sarah has issues with her husband of 31 years. Complaint. When anything goes wrong, he'll always turn things around so it's my fault. Solution. Perhaps it was. Complaint. If I so much as set foot in his office, he'll accuse me of moving everything. Woe betide if there is something he can't find. Again, that will be my fault. Usually whatever he can't find will be right under his bloody nose. Solution. I cannot believe what a simple solution there is to this oh-so-minor issue. Why are you entering this room? Make it plainly known that you will never again set foot in his office. Take out all of your belongings and seize a room or area in the house for yourself. Perhaps one of the many rooms you already have, such as the bedroom, bathroom, utility room, kitchen, living room, and dining room. He only wants one little place to call his own. Once set up in your new area, demand that it is a no-penis zone. This can all be done with love and understanding. If the issue bothers you both, then I am sure it will come as sweet relief to the pair of you to be able to eliminate each other from your inquiries from the outset. Writer's note. Please note that this system is open to abuse. For complete satisfaction, the no-penis zone and the breast-free territory must be enforced ruthlessly at all times. Complaint. He insists on leaving his stinking trainers festering in a corner of the bedroom in his gym bag. Ugh! Solution. This clearly bothers you more than it bothers him. Tell him that it bothers you and ask him politely to, in future, not do this. Explain, with love in your voice, that it's something that upsets you. As an equal partner in the relationship, he has the right to leave his stuff where he wants to, but surely he wouldn't want to do it if it upsets you so much. Let him know that if he does it again, you will gently mention your new agreement. You understand that habits are not always easy to break, and an occasional loving reminder is acceptable for, let's say, a period of 1 week. After this, you will not mention it again, but with his permission, you will break the breast-free territory pact and place the gym bag just inside the door of his office. You could seal this agreement much quicker if you yourself offer to make a concession, perhaps not taking over 95% of the wardrobe, or not leaving your makeup, brushes, tweezing and squeezing implements, and other feminine sundries all over the dresser which, might I remind you, you both paid for, even though you chose the style and colour, and didn't once even consider his idea of a 32 TV. You could even let him have some shelf space in the bathroom. Question. Why does he roll his socks back up into a ball in the wash basket, so that when I wash them, they come out of the washer still in a ball, idiot? Answer. This is simply a breakdown in communication. He does this because he was once told, probably by his mum, that doing this makes it easier for her to pair them up later, in the same way that a cat brings home a half-eaten carcass out of love. He is doing this for the same reasons. Solution. Wash them, if you are the designated washer, as they are in a ball. It's much easier for you to put them back in the drawer. No pairing. Having been the designated pairer, I would have worked out this solution within minutes. It may take them longer to dry, and they may not actually be clean, but hey, they're not your socks. Do your own socks however you wish. Wash them one at a time. Wash them by hand. Dry them individually in a tumble dryer so they come out soft and fluffy. They're your socks, and you deserve them exactly how you want them. Have you considered that he wants his in a damp, unclean ball? If he doesn't, then he will soon learn, when he sees you floating on an air of fluffy softness, that he should perhaps ask how it is that yours are so nice, and his smell of cabbage. That's when you strike. Walk him through your sock system and explain that if he follows your simple rules, he too could be walking on a velvety blanket of feathery comfort. Complaint. He never thinks to do any washing himself. Solution. He would if he had to. It is just that you get there first. This may be hard to cure as, and this is your error and not his, you have been doing this for him for so long that he sees it, quite rightly, as your job. We appreciate that it may be hard to find the time to do the washing, with all the shelves you have to put up and the trees you have to cut down as a part of your gardening duties. Not to mention the jobs that you regularly have to do on the car, checking and topping up water and oil levels, bleeding the brakes, sponging the master cylinder, uplifting the sprocket manifold, setting the idle joint on the carbon Beretta. Writer's note. That one should weed out the women from the girls, eh? Then, of course, there's all the tech you have to set up at home. TVs, tablets, smartphones, laptops, desktops, surround sound systems, home entertainment systems, HDMI, SCART, RCA phono, 3.5mm stereo jacks, 6.3mm stereo jacks, USB to Firewire hubs, spootles, Vastamanies, green tooth, infrared beaming notifications, Scholar Blasty. Complaint. He'll always drink a glass of wine quicker than me so that he always gets an extra glass. Solution. Buy 2 bottles of wine and then you'll have one each. When he asks for some of your wine, sell it to him for favors. Drinking at different rates is not grounds for complaint. Drinking at exactly the same speed would be weirder. Complaint. That noise he makes when he's mid-conversation and he's trying to clear the phlegm out of his nose. I could stab him when he does that. Answer. With a little simple maths, you should be able to calculate the average length of a conversation. Halve this time, and you should arrive at mid-conversation. To avoid hearing his throat clearing, I suggest that you cease all conversation with him just before this midway point. This should eliminate his need to de-phlegm and save you from the long and arduous task of proving your innocence to a jury of your peers. Complaint. His refusal to throw anything out. His clothes in his wardrobe go back to 1989 and his used tissue collection goes back to 1992. Answer. This is the reason you have nice things. He makes do and mends, so his family can have the lifestyle they deserve. What a guy. Question. He decides to go for his morning constitutional when I'm just about to start my morning routine. Why can't he wait until I've gone? He also doesn't know what an air freshener is. Answer. This is a matter of timing. Your husband is an accomplished musician with excellent timekeeping skills. I can only therefore surmise that this is an error on your part. You should also perhaps consider the fact that your own toilet habits are so foul that he simply cannot go after you, but he is too polite to say anything. I suggest a conversation and a powerful neutralizing air deodorizer. Both of them clear the air, but in different ways. Complaint. He eats bread with everything. Answer. It's just bread. Something he loves. How does that impact you in any way? Let him eat bread. Or cake. Or buns. I believe he is very partial to a nice Austrian strudel, just one of the many things he has in common with the late Chancellor of Greater Germany between the years 1933 and 1945. There's an entire chapter in Mein Kampf about his anger at the time his local pastry shop sold the last strudel to the Chunkmeister General, Hermann Goering. That's just how Nazi Germany started, you know? Amanda Stockport. Question. So why can't you guys just say what you mean? And I'll say, okay, I'll start. Yes, your arse looks massive in that dress. Be quiet. You're making a tit out of yourself. Yes, my foot was pushing down on an imaginary brake. It's a mini roundabout. Will one of you ladies please make a fucking decision? Yes, it is naughty to order takeout for the 3rd time this week. No, I do not want to hear about your day. My ears are bleeding. Please stop talking. Question. Do you take extracurricular classes in subject avoidance diversion techniques? Answer. I don't know. Do you? Question. Why is it that guys seem to be completely incapable of picking up on nonverbal signs that something's amiss and fail to say seemingly obvious things at the right time without prompting? Answer. Why is it that women seem to be completely incapable of verbalizing that something's amiss and fail to prompt at the right time things that are in no way obvious to a man? Question. Why do men always need to offer up a solution to just about anything we're talking about? Even worse is when you say, if that was me, I would have... Answer. That is our way of shutting you up. If we listen attentively to the full story and only offer supportive nods, we will have to expend effort in grasping basic elements and key words, just in case you bring it up later. So we nip it in the bud at the earliest opportunity. For example, to your version. So I picked up the car from the garage and put the radio on. All the stations were gone, and I couldn't listen to local tosser 105.5 FM like I normally do. It was really annoying, because my favourite bit was about to start. You know the bit with that DJ I like? Oh, what's his name? He was doing that live show last summer from the market. You know him? He's got blonde streaks. Speaks with a high voice. Me and Debbie think he sounds a bit like a girl. You remember Debbie, don't you? Fat thighs. You made that joke last year at Simon and Emma's party. The one they had for their anniversary. I think it was their 5th anniversary. Or 6th. Anyway, it's not important. Where was I? Oh, yeah. It's that bit I like where he plays a couple of songs and gives you some headlines, and you have to guess the year. I tried to tune it in while I was driving, but couldn't work the stupid thing. Why do they make them so hard to do? I nearly crashed into a blue BMW. Or Audi. Yes, Audi, I think. Well, I couldn't tune it in, and I missed it, and it put me in a bad mood for the rest of the day. Our version. Woman. So I picked up the car from the garage and put the radio on. All the stations were gone, and I couldn't listen to local tosser 105.5 FM like I normally do. Man. Oh, they must have disconnected the battery and all the settings have gone. I'll go and do it now. Question. What's with the one-word text responses when we've just sent you a heartfelt and thoughtfully structured message? Answer 1? Huh? Answer 2? How rude. Just because you've gone weak at the knees at the thought of our strong shoulders and firm buttocks, and it has driven you to wax lyrical about your love for us, does not mean we have to reciprocate. We may be busy, or perhaps not in the mood, for such frivolities. Question. What's with the nanosecond attention span? Answer. That's very easily answered. If you just give me a minute to... Question. I once went out with a guy who genuinely believed that squirting Mr. Muscle on the shower screen while showering meant he'd thoroughly cleaned the bathroom. Do guys just not see the plethora of pubes that accumulate on just about every surface in the ablutions center of the home? Answer. I live alone. I clean my own bathroom in my own way and in my own time. I do not get a build-up of pubic hairs on any surface. I think you need to take a long look at your personal grooming techniques or simply give in to it and go feral. Question. And why does doing the pots mean washing them but leaving them to dry on the work surface for weeks on end or until the fairer sex admits defeat and puts them away? Answer. Because that's what doing the pots involves. If the instruction was to do the pots, rinse them in warm water, dry them, and then put them away in their respective homes, then that is what he would do. Ask the correct question. Writer's note. This is also an issue when woman needs to find an answer in Google. She can type away for hours, sometimes days, if she doesn't have access to a man and never find the answer she seeks. One simple instruction to a man and he'll type a concise question into the little box, push return, and confidently, sometimes arrogantly, turn and walk away without looking at the results. Woman then shouts, "How did you find that? Typical. It would work for you. I've been looking for days." Here's a clue. If you're looking, for example, to find a local hair and nail salon, type the words hair and nail salon near me into the search engine and not nails. If you want a health and beauty spa, firstly, learn to spell spa, secondly. Don't just write spa. Question. My ex-husband didn't speak to me for over a week once because I refused to allow him to keep his motorbike in our dining room. At what level was that ever going to be acceptable? I think I'm a reasonable and easygoing girl, but come on. Answer. I will copy and paste your question below and accentuate the key words. My ex-husband didn't speak to me for over a week once because I refused to allow him to keep his motorbike in our dining room. At what level was that ever going to be acceptable? I think I'm a reasonable and easygoing girl, but come on. You get to keep perfumed dry leaves in old bottles. enough candles to soot damage the glass-like finish of a Harley-Davidson's petrol tank, and photographs of people we don't even recognize. Is one little motorbike in the living room really too much to ask? Question: what's with the one rule for you but another one for us ladies? Answer: you tell me. We pay half towards a house, and yet we have no say in the decoration or furnishings. We can't even have a motorbike in the living room. Question: what's with the blowing hot and cold over just about anything and everything? 1 minute you seem to be massively up for something, then 5 minutes later it's suddenly become the worst idea ever. Answer: I'm afraid this doesn't warrant an explanation, as it is human nature, and not just the preserve of mankind. Womankind can more than hold its own in this department. Anal sex springs to mind. No, today. Yes, yesterday. Maybe tomorrow. Make your mind up, love. Complaint: sarcasm isn't big or clever. Occasionally it's funny, but 24/7 skies, it becomes ever so slightly tedious. Answer: wrong, wrong, wrong. Good sarcasm is better than bad wit any day. And let's face it, it's all you girls have got, isn't it? You're scientifically proven to be less funny than men. Now hold on there, don't blow a fuse. Where's your sense of humor? Everybody knows it's true. You get a few funny women, I suppose. I can't think of any at the moment, but there must be a couple. Shouting lady comedians' names at a book isn't going to help anyone, is it? It's a book, love. I can't hear you. Now that, my dear, is sarcasm. Question: why do you think it's ever acceptable to wear a pair of undergarments more than 1 day in a row? And why would you keep socks with holes in them, never mind even contemplating wearing them? Answer: because we are clean creatures. Most days we don't soil ourselves, or sit in muddy fields, or sweat heavily in the groinal area. We're not monsters, you know. We investigate the freshness next morning with a hearty sniff and skid mark inspection. If they fail, we pop them into the bin and crack open a new pair from the industrial-sized job lot we buy once a year from eBay. If they pass muster, we slide them on for an extra day and soldier on. After a while, it becomes a matter of pride to stay groinally clean, to see how many days you can wear them before people begin to notice the smell. We don't keep socks with holes in on purpose. It's just that we aren't always staring at our feet when we put them on. We look long enough to aim our toes into the main sock compartment, but then we don't feel the need to keep looking as we pull them all the way on. A heel hole or one near a smaller toe may pass us by. A naked big toe will set off alarm bells, but because we buy our socks in large matching packs too, we only have to throw away one sock. I know what you're thinking. That will leave a rogue solo sock in the drawer. This is true, but it evens itself out over time. And there is no better feeling than throwing away one sock, knowing that you can now pair the odd one with an earlier victim. You feel as though you've gained a new pair of socks, for free. Question: pot noodles are not an acceptable food group. Answer: pot noodles are neither good for you or bad for you. They're simply for you. They are as pointless as magnolia paint, the Norwich City away kit, and American cheese, but we don't disregard any of these, do we? The pot noodle deserves its place on the shelf alongside rice, corn cakes, and unflavored popcorn. Question: the bedroom floor is not an acceptable alternative to the laundry basket. Answer 1. I could refer you to the previous response to Sarah from Dewsbury. This clearly bothers you more than it bothers him. Tell him that it bothers you and ask him politely to, in future, not do this. Explain, with love in your voice, that it's something that upsets you. You understand that as an equal partner in the relationship, he has the right to leave his stuff where he wants to, but surely he doesn't want to do it if it upsets you so much. Let him know that if he does it again, you will gently mention your new agreement. You understand that habits are not always easy to break, and an occasional loving reminder is acceptable for, let's say, a period of a week. After this period, you will not mention it again, but with his permission, you will break the breast-free territory pact and place the gym bag just inside the door of his office. You could seal this agreement much quicker if you yourself offered to make a concession. perhaps not taking over 95% of the wardrobe, or not leaving your makeup brushes, tweezing and squeezing implements, and other feminine sundries all over the dresser, which, might I remind you, you both paid for even though you chose the style and colour and didn't once even consider his idea of a 32 TV in the bedroom and some sort of bucket for your products. You could even let him have some shelf space in the bathroom. But I don't have to repeat myself because there are so many legitimate answers that I can simply use a different one. Answer 2. According to whom is the flaw not acceptable? It clearly is to your man. So you have a difference of opinion. That happens all the time. So why is this one such a raw issue? I'll tell you why. It's because the man is not applying the rules set out by the woman. How unfair is that? Does man not have the same rights? Why would it be out of order for the man to insist that you start to put your used and apparently soiled daily clothes on the floor rather than in the laundry basket? I mean, what is a laundry basket anyway? It's just a bin for clothes, simply a place to put dirty clothes. I think there should be a week put aside each year for alternative male household systems. We could call it He's the Boss Week, or the week he decides, or he finally gets his way for one pathetic week of the year week. He could insist that you don't use the dishwasher for a week. Watch interesting and informative factual TV programs that might just expand your mind a little for a week. Let him imprint some DNA on the remote controls for a week. Take your clothes off at night and just fucking throw them where you want for a week. Wear your knickers if they pass the test for more than 6 hours. Eat a pot noodle. Leave the washing up to dry au naturel. Let an empty bottle stand on a kitchen work surface for the whole week. Introduce the yellow and red card system as in football. Writer's note. You could play a yellow card if an argument got too insulting to warn your partner that they are starting to upset you. The red card could signify that you'd had enough and were off to bed. You could introduce a joker card too, which allowed you one shut the fuck up and let me speak moment. Make no effort to hide a fart for a week. Actively encourage burping for a week. Take more interest in Test cricket for a week. Writer's note. This is something that no man would ever do. We'd like to say it's because, having been subjected to years of unwanted soap operas and period dramas, the last thing we want to do is make the woman we love struggle uncomfortably through 5 days of something she hates. In truth, we don't want you to watch it because you might just like it and then say, on day 3, who's winning? A man would sigh and weigh up the merits of explaining that it's just not that simple, and wonder how to explain fully the rules and quirks of a game which lasts for 5 days and could end in a draw, or be rained off because they can't play in the rain. Polish the chrome on his living room motorbike whilst watching Nazis, a warning from history. Question. I undertook a series of driving lessons and managed to pass my driving test the first time and have a considerable number of years driving. So I'm not quite sure why guys need to offer up tips about how to drive /park/reverse/stop when sat in the passenger seat. Answer. I could refer you to the earlier chapter on women's driving, but I won't. It's because you drive safely and within the law, and he doesn't. He wants risk, excitement, and thrills. You want to reach old age. Men in cars are dicks. Full stop. Question. On the subject of driving, what's with the complete inability to ask for directions? It's so annoying, especially when you're blatantly lost. Answer. It's not an inability, it's his unwillingness. Writer's note. The advent of map apps has turned this question completely on its head. Asman now strives to beat the predicted time of arrival, and so has gone from being perpetually lost to perpetually dangerous as he attempts at every chance to shave a minute off the arrival time. Question. Why do you make such a big deal about silly, small, insignificant things, yet the really big things that matter are no big deal? Answer. Who decides what is silly, small, and insignificant? And who decides what is a big deal? Question. Do you guys ever feel cold? Why does it have to minus 25 Tc outside before it's acceptable to turn on the central heating? Answer. Because someone, and I can't find out who, possibly my mum, invented the cardigan. Why is your first port of call to turn the heating to the equatorial setting rather than to cuddle up to me in my lovely new and toasty warm jumper? Cold doesn't grow on trees, you know. Question. Why do you refuse to read instructions? Is trying to set up the most complicated piece of technical equipment without referring to the troubleshooter manual a test of your manhood? Answer. We don't read instructions because we have a brain. Each piece of technical equipment is more or less just like the previous one we set up. This means we more or less remember what to do. A TV is a TV. A computer is a computer. A toaster, a toaster. A cabinet, a cabinet. We refer to the manual instructions when the item we're working on has a unique something. A particularly complicated double-screwed, left-hand threaded dowel or a combination of button pushes more complicated than a Vulcan death grip. We, at least, are prepared to have a go. Why do women refuse to even open the box if there is a dangling penis attached to a man within a 10-meter radius? Not too long ago, I observed a wonderful occasion from a particularly enjoyable position. I went with a female friend, or woman T, to help her buy a TV for her new apartment. I was playing the role of consultant, as she professed to know nothing about televisions. I took this opportunity to conduct a little research. It was fun. I helped her pick the TV, but knowing that deep down she wanted the best money could buy, I called her bluff and asked what kind she wanted. "Oh, just any old thing will do," she said. "You know me, I'm not into technology." Well, I thought, you little liar. I knew for a fact that she liked tech and gadgets. One look in her kitchen drawers would tell you that. 2 looks into her bedside cabinet would confirm it. If all her batteries came to life at the same time, the room would vibrate into dust within about 35 seconds. So, instead of giving her the benefit of my wisdom on such matters, I acted dumb. "This one seems nice," I'd say, whilst looking at a basic 22 model. "It looks easy to use. Look at the big buttons on the remote." She seemed a little agitated. "It's a big room," she said, as if her only concern was the balance of the furnishings. "Ooh, how about this one?" I said. "It's got a SCART socket and somewhere for your USB stick." "No, I was thinking of maybe a smart TV," she countered, giving away a little too much information about her knowledge. "Are they the internet ones?" I asked innocently. "I think so. I heard one of the guys in the warehouse where I work talking about one he'd just bought. It seemed nice." "Nice? Who buys a nice TV?" She was backtracking, as she knew she'd given away too much knowledge with her smart TV statement. I then played my ace card. "I haven't got one of those, so I don't know anything about them. Nothing at all. I did own one, and in fact I knew everything about them. But this wouldn't have been fun if I told her that." "Oh," she said in a tone of the voice that was both disappointed and condescending at the same time. She clearly felt backed into a corner, but to her credit, she came out all guns blazing. "Right then, I suppose I'll just have to pick one randomly," she quipped, and headed straight at the smartest smart TV I'd ever seen. This thing was so smart that it had its own emergency hotline, manned by Stephen Hawking. "This one will have to do," she harumphed. She knew. I knew she knew. I don't think she suspected that I knew. But I knew. We got back to her place, and I put Phase 2 into operation. I helped her carry the enormous pool table-sized box into her apartment and sat down on her cushion-littered sofa. "So I suppose I should set it up," she mused. "Looks complicated." It was still in the box. How does it look complicated? I remained silent. "I'll get some scissors," she decided. "Okay," I said. "I'll pop the kettle on." I made us both a lovely cuppa and then sat back to watch an amazing event unfold. Guess what she did? More to the point, guess what she didn't do? She made no effort whatsoever to look at the instructions. She didn't even tear open the little non-biodegradable bag that they are pointlessly sealed in. Even man opens the little non-biodegradable bag that they are pointlessly sealed in. It has the remote and batteries in there. She did eventually look at the instructions, but only to work out the manufacturer's specific way to operate a certain feature on the remote. Just like a man. Just like a human. Question. Why do you feel the need to explain the offside rule to the fairer sex at any given opportunity? I really don't care. Answer. Why do you feel the need to explain the salad you had at work today? We really don't care. Complaint. I can't eat as fast as most guys I know, but that doesn't mean I'm not hungry. I just masticate at a slower pace than you. So stop with helping yourself to my dinner just because you ate yours in record-breaking time. Solution. Simply allow the man to fill his plate with what he wants and this problem will disappear. No looks of disgust as he orders a double portion. No tuts as he asks for extra bread. No headshake as he explains that he's going to have a dessert. A little planning on your part will save you any stress. Explain to him in a loving and caring manner that you don't like it when he takes food from your plate. Dispel any fears he may have that starvation may occur by reassuring him that you want him to be happy too, and this means that he can eat whatever he wishes. Just as a little side note, you must be aware that women do this as a matter of course. You have tiny portions because I don't eat much, or I have an appetite like a tiny bird, when in reality the truth is that you don't put much on your plate. This means that when your gaze hits our chip-filled fry-up, you begin to salivate like a hyena standing patiently at a lion's kill. However, unlike the much-maligned hyena, who has the good grace and common sense to wait until the lion has had its fill, you pounce on our plate and think it's okay to do so, because you say things like, "Oh, those chips look nice, can I just have one?" as it makes its way already forked towards your pie hole. Question. Why, even though at some point we will have informed you of an impending appointment with the hairdresser, do you still fail to notice that we've had our hair done? Answer. Why is this so important to you all? Surely this is a personal grooming issue and therefore you're doing it entirely for yourselves. Otherwise you'd include us in the process. We are the poor sods who have to walk around with you as you sport your latest bob or beehive. We have no say, and yet we still have to listen to you banging on about it being too short and not what you asked for, and you'll never use that Tracy again. When we shave, do we expect you to say, "Oh, you've shaved, darling, it looks lovely"? No, of course we don't. That would be ludicrous. If you ask us before you go whether or not we have any opinion on what you should do to your hair, then perhaps we'd take more notice and feel included in the decision. That, though, is based on us being allowed to be honest. To get us on board, answers such as, "For Christ's sake, don't do the perm again," and "The time you had green tints with pink ends corresponded with our love-making drought for a reason, love," have to be not only allowed but positively encouraged. This is where the nubbin of the problem lies. Honesty. We cannot be honest with you because when we are, we get accused of being mean. We didn't decide to shave one side of your head and dye the other side blue, but somehow, when we point out that perhaps it wasn't such a good idea, we get thrown to the lions. We could lie, but this has happened for so many generations that even the difference between the truth and lies has now become blurred. If we say we like it, it's not because we've studied it and made a rational decision. It's because we know that saying we like it is the only sentence available to us. If you entered the room bald, we'd say, "Yeah, I didn't think it'd suit you, but you actually pull it off really well." So, in a very long and rambling nutshell, that's why we don't make a comment. That's why we do an impression of an ostrich whose surroundings make him nervous. We, metaphorically, stick our heads down a hole and go, "La la 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 la," until we feel it's safe to come out. Writer's note, FYI, it's never as safe to come out. But we have to eat. Complaint. Stop answering a question with a question or turning a situation back around onto us. I know it's hard to believe, but sometimes it really is your fault. Solution. Stop making this a male thing. Women do it too. It's a human trait. I'll have a word with mankind and we'll stop doing it if you do. Complaint. Changing your bed linen once a quarter isn't acceptable. Neither are scratchy towels. That's why washing conditioners were invented. Solution. Firstly, stop sniffing bed linen. And what's your point? Is once a quarter too much or too little? Once again, you lack clarity, you know. Also, if you want soft towels, bring your own. For man, there's nothing better than a good scratchy towel. Some of man's most successful relationships will have been with a scratchy towel. It is also a very hard yet delicate process to get a towel, whose chief role is to be soft and fluffy, to the optimum level of scratchiness. It isn't just a case of careless washing. It takes years of patient effort to get it to just the right point, soft enough to not hurt, but scratchy enough to remove the top layer of epidermis if required. Man is hairy, man gets itchy. Woman is hairy too, but they think we don't know? Trust me, we know. Just stay on top of it, writer's note, especially the tash. No matter how long it takes or what a pain in the arse it can be, and we'll happily continue to play along. The Austrians are famous for their love of soft, fluffy towels. Hitler's roommate, August Kubizek, once threw away all of Hitler's much-loved scratchy towels while they were sharing digs in Vienna. They just seemed so rough, he was heard to say when quizzed about it at the launch of his 1955 book, The Young Hitler I Knew. How was I to know it would send him into a spiral of anger, depression, and eventually totalitarianism? That's just how Nazi Germany started, you know? Cheryl, Manchester. Complaint. When we get upset because our boss was a writer's note, asterisks are not required for a swear word in this book, was the word twat. We didn't expect you to come up with a plan to get them fired or how I should respond. Why can't you just let us be sad and pretend to listen? Solution. This is another repeat complaint, but it has an interesting twist, which gives me an excellent idea for a solution. We men do not like it when our women are upset. It is in our chemistry to protect, and this is why we feel the need to fight back. As stated earlier in my response to Amanda, it is also a way to shut you up. Question. Why do you always need to offer up a solution to just about anything that we're talking about? Even worse is when you say, if that was me, I would have... Dean. Answer. That is our way of shutting you up. If we listen attentively to the full story and only offer supportive nods, we will have to expend effort in grasping basic elements and key words just in case you bring it up later. So we nip it in the bud at the soonest opportunity. However, Cheryl asks, why can't you just let us be sad and pretend to listen? This, it seems to me, is what I have been saying all along. This is what men want to do. This is what men have been learning to do this whole time. We never believed for one solitary moment that you would be happy with this. The idea of offering you a fighting solution is a front. If we can legitimately simply appreciate that you are sad and pretend to listen, then I think we finally may have hit on something. If the only thing both sexes get from this book is that one solution, then I think it has all been worthwhile. Writer's note. Please remember, though, that pretending to listen comes with the caveat that we will no longer be able to offer fighting solutions if you want them, because, well, we haven't been listening. Complaint. Men are ruled completely by their egos. Writer's note. This appears to be a statement of fact rather than a complaint. Answer. I agree. Complaint. Snoring. Go to a doctor and get it seen to. Solution. The fact that you think snoring is only a man problem is both cute and delusional in equal measure. Complaint. We can, and are expected to, multitask, while men have difficulty answering a simple question with the TV on. Solution. You can multitask, but do you do any of the tasks with total efficiency? I think not. Men, however, watch the TV with 100% concentration and, therefore, if we answered your question, it would break our attention and we'd have to watch the whole program again. From the start. With the volume up louder and the subtitles on. You've got to pick your battles, love. Question. You finished the last of the leftovers and tossed the empty container back in the fridge because... Answer. There are so many answers to this question that I simply do not know where to start. Habit. We have been trained by you to put things away from where we got them. Survival. There's still a crispy bit at the bottom that we want to scrape out and have on a sandwich tomorrow. Love. We want to give it to the cat dog to enjoy, but need you out of the house first because you'll tell us off for letting the dog cat eat from human bowls. Efficiency. If the fridge is empty, it uses more electricity. Health and safety. The container may be aluminium and could contain sharp edges that could hurt you if you are pushing down the contents of the bin to get more stuff in there. Complaint. The way men switch their brains. A man's mind and attention can only seem to hold so much at any one time. Their focus goes on whatever project they are working on. They need to drag themselves back to be attentive emotionally. Solutions come before emotions. Solution: pilot, surgeon, pharmacist, train driver, machine operators, air traffic control, tutor. These all deserve 100% focus. Emotion: cricket, rugby, football, Schindler's List, disease, famine, wars. These all deserve emotion. Bad combinations are pilots listening to the Six Nations while landing a 747 surgeons listening to the match on a Saturday afternoon while performing a tricky heart bypass, a pharmacist thinking of the conflict in the Middle East while filling separate prescriptions for Ritalin and Prozac, a train driver watching Schindler's List on a portable DVD player, an operator of heavy machinery reading an article in the National Geographic about the disease and famine problems of the Third World, an air traffic controller flicking over to Sky Sports to watch the final overs of the deciding test between England and the Aussies. This is why man has devised a way to separate solutions from emotions. Her: do you love me? Him: love, I'm trying to land this plane. Her: what you thinking? Him: love, I'm sewing up Mr. Papadopoulos' chest cavity. Can it wait? Her: why do we never do anything together anymore? Him: because I'm currently in charge of 60 tons of metal filled with human beings hurtling towards Manchester Piccadilly at 125 miles per hour. Besides, I brought you to work with me, didn't I? Complaint. Men are so logical, which is great for them, but they expect women to think logically as well and can't understand when we don't. Plus, they criticize us when we aren't. Answer: yes, men are logical. This is why things get invented. This is why things are safe. This is why things have rules. This is why the world is ordered. I could easily counter with, women are illogical, which is great for them, but they expect men to think illogically as well and can't understand when we don't. Plus, they criticize us when we aren't. Answer: yes, women are illogical. This is why sales of cushions are so high. This is why millions of perfectly beautiful alive flowers get culled each day so they can be last-minute impulse buys at a petrol station and taken home, as an apology for having the temerity to want to work late, where they can sit in a vase and rot. This is why craft shops exist. This is why celebrities perform bizarre acts on Saturday night TV in the hope of resurrecting their flagging careers. This is why tissue manufacturers make easy dispensing boxes. This is why grown men give you cuddles and tell you they love you while watching the cricket over your shoulder. Writer's note. To your left, you see a sofa in its natural state, after being designed for comfort by a team of experts with years of experience. Writer's note. To your right, you see the same sofa after a woman has been at it for half an hour. Question da-da-da. Why do men scratch their balls? Answer: because they are itchy. Writer's note. Here's a tip, girls. If you want your man to really love you, cup his testicles with your cold hands. This benefits you both. It cools and soothes his sweaty balls and will warm your hands up faster than if you put them into an open flame. Complaint. The fact other men take the pee. If they show emotions in front of each other. So men think that the best way to deal with humiliation, defeat, or failure is by keeping such emotions to themselves. Answer: other men only take the piss in comical ways. We show emotions in front of each other all the time. What we don't do is show emotions in front of each other if we're in front of any member of the female race. It's a little game we play with you. Not handling humiliation, defeat, and failure has nothing to do with this. We just hate humiliation, defeat, and failure, and so act like big babies as a coping mechanism. Complaint. When a man is not himself, you can tell something is eating him. It takes a lot of coaxing to make him open up, but usually he would rather blame it on work or deny outright that something is bothering him at all. Even when he gives in and spills his gut, it will be lacking in details. Answer. This is because if we talk about what is really bothering us, we'll get emotional and then you'll think less of us. The best thing to do is to bury it deep, never to be heard from again. Complaint. Ever-changing moods. Answer. Sometimes we're happy. Sometimes we're sad. Sometimes we empathize. Sometimes we don't. I think that's called being a person. If only we could be more like woman, with her never-changing mood and strong, unwavering attitude to everything. Complaint. Men do not always notice the special things women do for them. You can break your back with hours of house cleaning, spend hours studying a new recipe so you can cook him a gourmet meal. You can make yourself look special and beautiful. It all does not matter. Somehow, men will not notice. But if this was the other way around, we wouldn't hear the last of it. In fact, a man wouldn't go into as much detail in thought as a woman does. Answer? I'll answer these points one at a time. Define special, because I think you'll find that our idea of special things differs greatly from yours. If you do what man considers to be a special thing, he'll unnotice. Trust me. There's a reason it doesn't matter. It's because he doesn't love you, because you can clean a house, or cook a delicious meal, or make yourself look beautiful. He loves you because you're you. He thinks you look beautiful, without all the special effort. He'd live with you in a hole in the ground. He'd happily eat pot noodles for the rest of his life if it were with you. If man does nice things, he will let you know simply because he would accept the same behavior from you. The fact that you do not clearly state that you would like some credit for the effort you have made is not really his fault, is it? Man goes to great efforts to be as thoughtful as woman. He is naturally a selfish beast, so anything he does which doesn't benefit him must be magnified by a factor of 100 because it was so hard for him to do. Complaint. Men forget anniversaries, which is shocking with today's technology. Answer. With the best will in the world. With all the honesty and love I can muster. Please don't take this the wrong way. What the fuck do anniversaries matter? We love you. An anniversary is an arbitrary date on a calendar. You probably decided the date. We don't care. This does not mean that we love you any less. If you want to celebrate it, then great. That's your call. But are you really saying that we don't care about you because we don't remember the date we first met / asked / dated / kissed / fondled / shagged you? Complaint. Men lie in order not to offend their partners. Answer. Holy shit, yes. Of course we do. Having never been on the end of one of woman's abusive volleys or week-long silences, I can see why you'd be confused. It's because you ask questions that quite simply have no right answer. Do I look fat? Writer's note, probably. Why would you ask otherwise? Will you still fancy me when I'm old? Writer's note, probably, but not as much as when you were young and tight. How do I look? Writer's note, the same as you always do, but with makeup and a dress. Do you think that girl over there is pretty? Writer's note, yes, and so do you, or you wouldn't be asking me, would you? Is she prettier than me? Writer's note, whether the answer is yes or no, it really doesn't matter, because I love you and not her. Are you suggesting that there are no women in the whole wide world who may be better looking than you? I mean, come on. If you could please tell me what answers you would like to the above questions, all men would be eternally grateful. The best thing to do, if you don't want stupid answers, is to not ask stupid questions, where the only safe answer is a total lie. We don't want to lie to you. In fact, we hate lying to you, but we hate hurting you more. Complaint. Men can't have long discussions unless they are about stuff they are really passionate about. Answer. I know. Isn't that the same as any human being? Why would you want someone to ramble on about something they aren't passionate about? What sort of human would think that was acceptable? Oh yeah, woman. Complaint. Men know that if they disappoint their partner, then they have to fix the situation with a long talk and a bunch of apologies. For that reason, men seem to learn very quickly to just lie. That way everybody is happy not. Answer. Correct. Why would you, the woman who professes to love us, with all your heart put us through that? Remember, and I can't stress this enough, lying is bad. It means remembering facts that are untrue. It means inventing things which haven't happened. We don't want to lie. For fuck's sake, release us from these shackles and ask questions to which you can handle any answer and accept our apology when we give them. Everybody disappoints someone at some point in their life. Let it go. Do you know how much more we'd love you if, when you said, "Okay, I accept your apology," you actually bloody meant it, and we knew that you wouldn't bring it up every time something even remotely similar happened? Do you remember what happened last? Oh, you're not going to try to fix it, are you? Last time didn't go very well, did it? Writer's note, FYI. The thing I tried to fix last time was the washing machine. The second thing was a fallen washing line. Stop trying to help. Or call a professional. We don't want that debacle again. If you're not prepared to accept our apology yet, then say so. Give us an opportunity to make it right. As mentioned earlier, we are literal and logical beasts. We make no effort to hide this. So when you say we are forgiven, we assume you are telling the truth, and we get really pissed off and love you a little less when you rehash it 2 months later. Please don't make us lie to you. And please, C, don't make us have a long talk. Complaint. I have never really understood why men feel the need to make stupid, sexist, offensive comments to women. I doubt if there is a woman alive who has not been on the receiving end of heckling, ranging from the milder, "Give us a smile then, darling," and no, why on earth should I, to the frankly obscene and disgusting, which makes me for one think they need to get A, a life, and B, some manners, and quite possibly C, some counselling. I've never been sure if it is an ineffectual way to get noticed, like the boy at school who pulls the pigtails of the girl he likes because he daren't tell her that he likes her, or whether it is some strange idea of a macho power play to keep women in their place. Answer. This is the first complaint I have received that I cannot answer. I, personally, have never done this, and it makes me sick to the stomach if I hear it happen. I'm afraid, boys, I'm with the girls on this one. If you are a man and you do this, stop it. You're a dick, and it's making the ladies of the world assume we're all half-brained morons like you. Women are different from men. That's clearly apparent. That does not mean that they should be treated like objects, so show a bit of class, fellas. It does annoy me, however, that it seems to have become acceptable for the roles to have been reversed. The Diet Coke ad. Writer's note. Men ripping off T-shirts to reveal beautiful bodies while women slather over them. Reverse that, and we're back to the bad old 1970s. The Simpsons and Family Guy. Writer's note. Just imagine Marge and Lois playing the roles of Homer and Peter. Would you like that? Would it be acceptable in today's world? The general TV ads where dads are made to look stupid and are always bailed out by a good old mum. It seems to me that we have gone too far, and the equality we strive for has gone past equal and is zooming in the opposite direction. About time, you may say. It's our turn now. You've been in charge for too long? I agree, and that's fine, but remember what the feminist mantra was? Equality. The Weimar Republic was in power in Germany, and then the National Socialists won power. That's just how Nazi Germany started, you know. Katie, Oxford. Katie is the first to bring up the sticky, and sometimes really sticky, subject of sex. Good girl. Question? Why do men prefer sex with the light on? Answer. This is simple. It's so we can see how pretty you are. Real answers below. Writer's note. They are written with no spaces between the words, so the answers are not instantly apparent. If you want to remain innocent and happy with the above answer, then skip this bit. It's I can see what your cum face is like. It's I can see what your faking it face is like. We want to see what it looks like in the mirror. Our dream is that it looks like a porn shoot. In reality, it looks like a turkey shoot. It's to annoy you. We turn the heating off because you want it on and leave the lights on when you want them off. Writer's note. This should also dispel the belief that all men are tight when it comes to utility bills. It has nothing to do with finance. Question. Anal sex. Writer's note. As this is all Katie has written, I am unsure whether this is a question, complaint, or offer. Answer. All I can say is that if both people in a loving relationship wish to partake in wrong and sex, then surely that is absolutely fine. It becomes awkward when one person is not too comfortable with the idea. I find it peculiar that woman is capable of saying no to the most trivial of things, for example, an offer to explain the rules of cricket, biscuits in bed, us asking for a neck rub, and yet when it comes to having something which has evolved to fit into a vagina, rammed up something that evolved to force out tiny little squidgy bits of poo, woman seems unable to refuse entrance. If you don't want anal sex, simply say, "No thank you, darling, if you remember. I told you my thoughts on that at the onset of our relationship. Besides, it really hurts." Complaint. The inability to appreciate that the missionary position really is the politest thing to do after he's given up trying to find the spot. Answer. To be honest, Katie, with all this talk of anal sex and utility bills, you're lucky if we can manage any position at all. However, the missionary position is far more popular with men than you may think. It's lovely. Writer's note. Please note, girls, be happy if the lights are on during the missionary position. It means he still likes the way you look. If he chooses that moment to get up, waddle across the room and flick the lights off, then you could be in trouble. We get to look you in the eyes. We get to kiss you on the lips, face, neck, and chest. We get to prop our feet against the bottom of the bed, which gives us the purchase required to go for longer periods. We can manage different speeds. We can express subtleties which are, quite frankly, really hard in other positions. Oh, and man will never stop looking for the spot. We had a meeting, and we're convinced that you keep moving it. Question. Which reminds me, inability to find the spot. Answer. Contrary to the above answer, most experienced men know where the spot is. Any fumblage early on in the relationship is because, unlike the easy-to-find and recognize penis, the G-spot, writer's note, which is what I assume you are talking about, is notoriously famous for being as easily found as a penis in a rounders team. They are all different. Big ones, small ones, flat ones, egg-shaped ones. Some need to be handled as delicately as a new butterfly, and others can be jiggled like a jackhammer. Some scientists now say that the Grafenberg spot doesn't even exist, writer's note, named after Ernst Grafenberg, who studied it for many years at the Lucky Old Dog. Upon his death, his wife was reported as saying, "Thank fuck for that." Trust me, it does exist, and a little bit like a good hardware shop, once located, we never forget where it is. I wonder how many women knew of the spot before they read of it, or how many stumbled upon it by accident during a particularly long linger of the finger. It isn't exactly the sort of thing you would expect to find down there. It's not as though you'd even think of it if you were designing a couple of fleshy parts that fit together. Most of the stuff down there makes sense. The clitoris for stimulation and therefore a lubricated entrance. The testicles for storage. A penis to present and a vagina to receive. What else would you need? Who would consider a small area just in and up that, when fondled correctly, can turn even the most placid little princess into a wildly bucking filly? It seems quite pointless to me, writer's note. I guess not having one of my own to play with, I would say that, eh? I'm just jealous. One day, perhaps soon, Apple will design us an iSpot, and then we can all be happy. Question. What's with the unsubtle and uncomfortable entry at the start of sex? Answer. What's with the unsubtle and uncomfortable other 86,000
399 seconds that you put us through for the rest of the day.
Complaint. Perma-stained drip on front of trousers. Explanation. Boxers acceptable. Writer's note, this, I believe, is the primary service that male undergarments offer. Front of trousers not acceptable. Writer's note, I can offer no explanation or defence for this heinous crime. It takes a moment of care to avoid this. A simple dab will do it. Occasionally, though, it is nearly impossible to avoid a little drip, no matter how long you stand at the urinal shaking and squeezing your old chap. The problem lies with what happens next. Every man knows if it has happened, and therefore every man should make every effort to deal with it. Warm air hand dryers can sometimes work, but if they don't, then a quick call to cancel all appointments followed by a trip home. Avoiding as many humans as possible should be the only remaining option. Men who continue their journey to, for example, work, a date, the Houses of Parliament, are idiots with no self-awareness and should be fired, dumped, or voted out of office immediately. If, Katie, you know any of these men, then I suggest you remove them from your view and find better men. Complaint. Watching telly with computer on lap permanently. Answer. Working on the computer with the telly on permanently. Writer's note, come on, this is too easy. Why does this bother you? How does this affect you? Perhaps he's working in an effort to earn money so he can treat you like a princess. Unless he's wanking into a tissue while watching reruns of Pan's People on Top of the Pops while your mother is visiting, then leave him the fuck alone. Complaint. Toilet seat up, obviously. Answer. The simple etiquette, as we all know, is to leave the facilities in the manner in which you found them. As most of the men I know were brought up properly by their mummy, I can only assume that you, young lady, are guilty of this crime. Also, abiding by the above mantra, is it not possible that the toilet seat was in the up when you moved into your current home, and therefore, due to etiquette, everybody has always returned it to the up position? Writer's note. Get your man to read the section in this book about the Lady Wee. This will erase this as an issue and will render your next two complaints pointless. Complaint. For fuck's sake! You stare at the bottle of Domestos every time you take a pee. Does it honestly never occur to you to clean the toilet? Answer. As this is easily eradicated by the introduction of the Lady Wee, I will answer with a metaphor. For fuck's sake, you stare at the car every time you get in it and drive off. Does it honestly never occur to you to clean it? Complaint. Missing the toilet completely and finding drips on the floor, being oversensitive and defensive, when after months of being slightly grossed up about this, you pluck up the courage to ask that he clears it up. Answer. Another advantage of the Lady Wee is that in the middle of the night man can try to remain asleep while only his willy wakes up and does the business for him. With a little training, this action can be completed with no more than 15% of the body being conscious. It means he can drink more alcohol and still get a relatively uninterrupted night's sleep. Writer's note. Seriously, Katie. Find more hygienic men. Complaint. Tedious and expensive tendency to buy every new Wii/iPhone/TV deal/rice cooker/pavement cleaner, electric drill, electric toothbrush out of the house budget. Answer. Woman. Tampons. The average length of menstruation is 5-7 days long. You're advised to change your tampon every 6-8 hours. This equates to 21 tampons per cycle. At about £5 for 20, that is £60 per year. Hair products, £100 per year. Things that smell, £100 per year. Things that straighten, dry, avoid frizz, cause frizz, clip hair, remove hair, epilate, cleanse, curl and crimp, £200 per year. Makeup and cleansers, £100 per year. Shoes and clothes, £300 per year. Man. Toiletries, £30 per year. Jeans and trainers, £35 per year at the very most. If Daddy wants a new drill, then Daddy will fucking have a new drill, thank you very much. Complaint. A compliment might be nice now and then. Answer. The brand of tampons you use are competitively priced. Well done. Writer's note. In the name of fairness, I ask you to search deep into your honesty gene and try to remember the last time you complimented your man. Complaint. Shaving specks around the sink will never ever be acceptable. Answer. You cannot be serious. While I was married, a regular item on the shopping list was sink and plug hole unblocker. Since my divorce, I have bought one, and that was in error because I thought it said butthole unblocker. Writer's note, that's a whole other book right there. Specs. I used to dream of specs. I could have re-haired 3 Sphinx cats per week with the stuff I used to pull out of the plug hole. That's not counting the millions of leg hairs floating through the air like pollen and settling on porcelain areas, in water cups, and over toothbrushes. Complaint. Just accept you can't do DIY and call a plumber. Answer. Just accept you can't make yourself squirt and call a man. Complaint. If you're going to drool over Angelina Jolie, at least pander to my insecurities afterwards. Answer. If I'm going to have to pander to your insecurities all the time, at least let me drool over Angelina Jolie occasionally. Complaint. If you think I'm fat, the only acceptable response is to lie. Answer. I don't think you're fat. Complaint. Sometimes the fine really does mean fine. Answer. Okay. Got it. That's actually great to hear. It's really nice to finally have a woman give some clarity on that situation, because it has been a cloudy area for many, many years. Complaint. If fine doesn't mean fine, piss off and leave her alone. Answer. What? Complaint. Just because we want equality doesn't mean you shouldn't hold the door for us. Answer. Correct. It means you should hold the door open for us too. Complaint. Men never ever apologize. Answer. Yes, sorry about that. You'd think we'd say it more with all the opportunities you afford us to feel bad about the tiny, trivial, and inconsequential things we do that you seem to want us to apologize for. Hey, it's nice how you store up these unimportant things so you can occasionally have one big long rant at us about how terribly we have fucked up your life over the last 6 months. Sorry about that too. Finally, let me thank you on behalf of the men of the world for being so forthcoming with the word sorry when we are not. You really show us the way there. Writer's note. Number of years married 7. Number of apologies received 0. Complaint. You finally mentioned it might be nice if he cleared up after dinner, and you find the dishes neatly stacked next to the dishwasher, because he assumed you'd want to do that bit yourself. Answer. Pavlov's dog. Writer's note. When alone, unconditioned stimulus. Dirty dishes. Unconditioned response. Use dishwasher. When a woman is watching and conditioning. Conditioned stimulus. Put the pots into the dishwasher a certain way. No, like this. Are you stupid? The utensils go here. Stack them by size or it won't all fit. Conditioned response. Yes, dear. When a woman is watching after conditioning. Stimulus after conditioning. It would be nice if you cleared up after dinner. Response after conditioning. I'd better leave them stacked up near the dishwasher because she prefers to fill it a certain way. Complaint. Farting in bed. Intolerance of a girl. Farting in bed. Answer. Some of my proudest moments have been when my girlfriend or I farted in bed. Some of my funniest moments have been when my girlfriend or I farted in bed. Some of my most awkward moments have been when my girlfriend or I farted in bed. Writer's note. I agree with you. This is a tricky one. Kind of depends on the partner, eh? But never forget that farts are funny. They can also be an excellent judge of whether your partner is right for you or not. Studies suggest that 100% of farting partners stay together, while 100% of non-farting partners also stay together. Where a partnership has one farter and one non-farter, the percentage of breakups is a whopping 100%. I made all of that up, but I reckon it's right. Complaint. Fascination with and implausibly frequent adjustment of scrotum. Answer. Honestly, it really is complicated down there. Writer's note. I'm doing it right now. What we have is 2 egg-shaped things in a bag with a roll of meat capable of changing size hanging down from the front of the bag. We are expected to wedge this luggage between two legs that not only can close together completely, but also walk, run, jump, bend, trampoline, squat, and lunge. W. You girls cleverly stow your important stuff in the overhead locker, so cut us some slack. Things stick and swing and get trapped and need tugging and pulling and coaxing back into position. Complaint. Clearing up his man mess because he's not as tidy as you are. Answer. This is simply a matter of timing. You may only have to leave the mess for a couple of more minutes before he feels driven to tidy it up and you become the slob who never cleans up after herself. Complaint. Humiliation of him being tidier than you are. Answer. This is simply a matter of timing. He may only have to leave the mess for a couple of more minutes before you feel driven to tidy it up and he becomes the slob who never cleans up after himself. Complaint. If she's quiet, it's probably because she doesn't want to tell you what she's thinking, so don't ask. Answer. Okay. I don't need to be told twice, but to be honest, no man would ask, would they? Writer's note. Dear Katie, do you have the addresses of your former lovers, because I really need to have a chat with any man who can't piss straight, doesn't clean up after himself if he sprays piss all over the bathroom, tells you that he fancies anyone other than you, prefers to ask you what you're thinking about rather than staying silent, can't load a dishwasher, doesn't understand the workings of a fair and equal democracy. That's just how Nazi Germany started, you know? Karen, an Australasian Sheila. Adelaide. Complaint. Having to provide police-level evidence to prove when and how often something happens when suggesting there is an issue. Answer. This is good procedural protocol and therefore cannot be considered a complaint. It is, as it should be, the same for both sexes. Unfortunately, when we ask for names, dates and places, you open up your little black notebook, rummage Columbo-like in your pocket for a pencil, and proceed to mute us with irrefutable and overwhelming facts. The reverse finds us whimpering pathetic sentences like, well, I can't remember exactly when, but I know you did. This, Karen, is why you know deep in your heart that the above complaint is, in fact, just you girls showing off. Complaint. An innate ability to make it your fault even when they concede there is an issue with here. Answer. Alexander Pope wrote in his essay on criticism, to err is human, to forgive is divine. You are forgiven for your errors. Is this answer sufficient? No? Then can I please refer you to my above answer to a Katie complaint, which I believe, with a few alterations, is relevant? Complaint. Men never ever apologize. Answer T, yeah? Yeah, sorry about that. You'd think we'd say it more with all the opportunities you afford us to feel bad about the tiny, trivial and inconsequential things we do that you seem to want us to apologize for. It's nice how you store up these unimportant things, so you can occasionally have one big long rant at us about how terribly we have fucked up your life over the last 6 months. Sorry about that too, Princess. Finally, let me thank you on behalf of the men of the world for being so forthcoming with the word sorry when we are not. You really show us the way there. Writer's note, number of years married 7. Number of apologies received 0. Complaint. Inability to see details unless it is attached to sport, video games, cars or bikes. E.g., I didn't notice my undies on the floor, even though I've been stepping over them for a week. I didn't realize that I'd painted the stove and wall with dinner while cooking. Answer. And this, girls, is why you'll never rule the world. Below is a list explaining how to get the opposite sex to do things they don't want to do. Man. Problem. Can't get woman to clean my clothes. Solution. Design, manufacture and distribute a machine that takes the labor out of it so she thinks we've actually helped her. Problem. Can't get woman to pick up small flecks of dirt off the floor. Solution. Design, manufacture and distribute a vacuum cleaner to take the labor out of it so she thinks we've actually helped her. Problem. Making food for man over an open fire is hard and laborious. Solution? Design, manufacture, and distribute many labor-saving devices for the kitchen that makes woman actually enjoy preparing food for man. Problem: can't get woman to forage for berries and seeds. Solution: design, build, stock and sell vast quantities of processed foods in huge supermarkets. Writer's note tip: get them to concentrate on price differentials to take their mind off the fact that they're doing our shopping. Problem: can't get woman to shut the fuck up. Solution: invent a way to project the lives of other less intelligent human beings 3 times a week into a rectangular box that sits in the corner of the living room. Problem: can't get woman to do the, quite frankly disgusting, things that female actors do in porn films. Writer's note, or as we used to say before the world went insane, actresses. What is a female lion called these days? A lion? Solution: write, cast, shoot and distribute romantic softcore pornography that man can gently introduce into the lovemaking process, while all the time increasing the filth level until she willingly does the thing that 6 months earlier caused her to retch violently. Woman. Problem: can't get man to pick up a sock. Solution: design a PlayStation and Xbox game that rewards the player with an extra life, faster engine or bigger gun if they tidy up first. Writer's note: honestly, it's so fucking simple that it hurts. Complaint: inability to complete domestic jobs that have 2 steps, e.g. can hang the washing out but not bring it in. Answer: woman says, please put air in my tires. Man puts air in tires. Writer's note: he does not also change the oil, valet the interior and reset the gaps on the spark plugs. Woman says, please put up this shelf. Man puts up shelf. Writer's note: he does not go to the nearest home furnishing supplier and purchase a vase, picture frame and some candles to put onto the shelf. Woman says, please take me on a romantic weekend to Paris. Man takes woman to Paris. Writer's note: he does not get a job with a taxi company and drive her to the airport, fly the required 1,500 hours required to become a commercial airline pilot, perform all the jobs of hotel staff, and learn to be a Parisian tour guide. Woman says, please can we do the quite frankly disgusting things we saw in that porn movie last night? Man takes woman from behind and slaps her bottom rather hard occasionally. Writer's note: he does not call your sister and ask her to come round wearing a French maid's outfit and a 12-inch strap-on dildo. Woman says, please hang out the washing. Man hangs out the washing. Complaint: inability to think for himself when trying to find something. Needs to ask, where is, or have you seen, before actually looking for himself. Answer: trust me, he has looked. It's driven him mad, but he can't remember where he left it. The very last thing he wants to do is ask you, because he knows exactly what answer you'll give. Even if you've picked it up, tutted and moved it 4 times, you will still say, as a purely instinctive reaction, I've not seen it. You have seen it. You've always seen it. You've always moved it. This is what we say. Love, have you seen my heart pills? This is what you hear. Where the fuck is my blah? Have you moved them, you fucking vindictive bitch? Trust me, before we come to you, we have tried everything. Looked everywhere. We've torn the plasterboard off the wall. We've ripped up floorboards. We've hired 10 industrial jacks and lifted the house off its very foundations. We've called every ex-girlfriend whose number we still in error have in our phone. We've called our mum. We've called the Samaritans. We called the Sky Helpline. We've contacted SETI and asked them to transmit a request for the whereabouts of our keys/phone/tenor/life-giving pills, favourite pens, Rubik's Cube bit of paper with an important number on it, // bit of paper with our favourite number on it, safe favourite takeaway menu, such lovely, fluffy, cuddly teddy bear that we've had since we were 6. The last person we will ask. Absolutely the very last person we want to ask, honestly, is you. If we ask you, it means we need your love and understanding, because we are at our wits' end. All avenues have been investigated thoroughly. We're as lost as the very item we can't find. Have mercy on us and be gentle. Please. Complaint. Difficulty getting off the couch when wanting a discussion. Have developed a strategy where they yell from the lounge when they know you can't hear them, forcing you to come to them, often finding that they want something from the room you just came from. Answer. Sorry, love, but if you fall for that, then it just means we're going to keep doing it. Complaint. Determination to find their own way, even when it's bleeding obvious they're lost. God forbid they ask for directions. Answer. What women don't realize is that, unlike them, we plan journeys in advance. Things go wrong, of course they do, but deep down in the very pits of our soul, we know A, where we are, and B, where we're going. At the merest mention of a journey to a place we haven't been before, man will fire up Google Earth and investigate every possible route, including by bus and on foot. He will have logged each turn, right down to the street view of the eventual target destination, so he's aware of where the front door is. And what do you say when we make a tiny little error in our directions? One wrong turn? Ask someone. Why don't you just ask? He looks local. Ask him. Why won't you just ask? Men. You're all the same. Yes, we are. More bloody organized than you. Complaint. Constant need to buy gadgets or the latest in technology because there is a firm belief it will make their life better, easier, fulfilled. In other words, an innate fascination with buttons, knobs, and things that move. Then those gadgets sit in a drawer or cupboard untouched after a few weeks. Answer. I have addressed this subject to some degree on 2 occasions so far. If, however, you can't be bothered to trawl through pages and pages of anti-female diatribe, writer's note, and let's face it, who would blame you? Then I can give you an answer right here. We genuinely believe that these gadgets will make both our lives better. We buy them from love. Universal remote controls so complex to use that NASA themselves would rather have 4 dedicated remotes rather than 1. Bluetooth receivers that require expensive Bluetooth transmitters. These things make music wireless. Wireless! That's like magic. I'll grant you that the battery only lasts an hour before it needs recharging, but that hour, after the 30 minutes it takes to set it up, could be the laziest hour of our lives. Internet TVs. What a brilliantly logical idea. The fact that people would rather just have their tablet on their knee for web browsing hasn't stopped the boys at TV Central from designing all manner of shit remote control alternatives to the mouse and touchscreen. The beauty of the tablet laptop is that you don't need any crazy zoom controls to see things bigger. You can just move the fucking thing closer to your eyes. Gadgets are fun. Useless drawer space eating tat. But they're our food, just as shoes are yours. You want a candle, and we want a tape measure / clock / multi-tool. You like makeup and we like chrome. You desire perfume. We desire things that require an area in the back room for charging items. Sentences like, what does it do? I'll never use it. And it seems like a waste of money to me, really don't help. We're going to buy these things whether you support us or not, so buy into it. Enjoy the thrill of the jiffy bag through the front door. The eBay search and comparison. If you can't get involved, do what we do when you talk about your soaps. Hesitate, then tolerate, and then much later masturbate. It's the kind thing to do. 1 out of the above 3 is what the dirty, grubby National Socialists used to do to each other behind closed doors. And that is just how Nazi Germany got started, you know? See where I put things I create at.